Hey everybody, how we doing today? So welcome to DIY Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever day I post this video on. But anyways, I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on, so I figured if I put them in together into one video, it might be fairly interesting. So project number one is I'm going to be building a legitimate push pole. Now I've got my 8-foot 100% fiberglass solid pole, but it's really more of just a long stakeout anchor. Works great for that. I could utilize it somewhat as a push pole, but being only 8 foot is kind of limited, especially when you start getting in deeper water. So I wanted something for this year because I'm going to spend a little bit more quality time chasing stuff on the flats, utilizing the fly rods and stuff. So I just kind of want to get everything sort of shored up. I've got the kayak set up, I've got the casting platform, I've got the fly basket, I've got a quick drop anchor, so all that stuff's pretty good. The weakest point I had was just basically maneuverability on the flats. I've got that push pole, the stakeout anchor, just not long enough. I've got my paddle, which works for kind of movement, but for tight turns and spinning and locking yourself down, it just doesn't match up to like a push pole. Now, legitimately, I can go out and spend the bucks and get a true fiberglass or carbon fiber push pole, but you're looking at around a minimum of about 200 bucks. And the other part of it is I don't know exactly what length is really what I need. I know that 8 foot is just a little bit too short, and I don't know, 10, 12, 14, and so forth. So I went down to Home Depot and I picked up this 1.5 inch pine rod. This is a 10-foot length, weighs 3 pounds, which is exactly the same weight as my fiberglass stakeout anchor. So I think that'll give me a good idea if a 10-foot's going to be good enough, or if I have to go longer, then I got to drop the big bucks and just get a nice push pole. For this build, I've got some of this basically waterproofing wood finish, which is kind of like what you would use for your outdoor decking, patio furniture, and so forth, to try to kind of waterproof this up a bit. For the pointy side, I'm going to run a stainless steel screw through the center, and then I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to just whittle down the end to a point, cut off the head of the screw here, and sharpen that up and just kind of put a metal point into this wood dowel here. On the flip side, I've got a 1-inch PVC T. I'm going to just bolt that on the other end there. Not so much for grabbing like my stakeout anchor, but just to kind of like a duck foot, just to give a little bit of volume, so when I'm pushing in mucky, soft sand and stuff, it'll give me a little leverage there. Hit the dollar store for a little bit of sandpaper, a couple of paintbrushes. So I'm into it about $35, so that'll be a good gist of, hey, will a 10-foot push pole work out for me? And if not, and I got to move up, then I know I got to drop a couple bills and get a legitimate one. So that's project number one. All right, we got the tip pretty much roughed out there. Basically just took a 4-inch screw, threw some epoxy on it, screwed that into the base of the wood here. Then I just took my trusty old buck knife, did some whittling, and just kind of roughed it out into a point. Now I'm just going to take a die grinder, cut off the majority of the screw, and then just use the sidewalk to basically sharpen everything up. Then I'll do another run of epoxy or maybe some JB Weld to just kind of harden up everything on the bottom there. And then sand and varnish the rest of it, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and probably put the T on as well. And there you go. Got a sharpened point with a stainless steel tip on it. I think that's going to work out great. Okay, the 10-foot kayak push pole is finished. So starting off with a 10-foot, 1.5 inch pine rod from Home Depot, 15 bucks. Then I put in a stainless steel screw, 4-inch, embedded in here, chopped off the head, and then I whittled down the wood and filed down the point, so I got a nice bullet head there with a metal tip. epoxied the bottom here because that's the exposed side that'll be getting some force to it. Then the 10-foot pine, I use some clear waterproofing. Added on a 1-inch PVC T, add a couple of wings, and this will be my duck foot basically for mucky, sandy, soft stuff. And that's it. One of the factors I had to think about is actual transportation. With 10 foot, it won't fit inside the little Civic, so I just have it pinched between the outrigger there. And that's no problem, so I could go up to 16 foot if I wanted to. That was just something I was worried about, but that's handled. And no problem stowing it on the kayak there. That was the other worry. If I go too large, makes it unmanageable on the kayak, but I could easily go 14 foot and plenty of spacing to keep it balanced. Guess we might as well do the sink test as well. Oh yeah, see, that's a big benefit right there. It won't sink. Don't see them in the flats, so just hanging around like that. Turtle, turtle. Colorful little guy. All right, we're back. So a little bit of a wrap up for the DIY push pole. Very happy with it, fully functional. It hit all the notes that I wanted it to. The only adjustment that I'm wanting to make is that it would be nice to be about 2 to 4 foot longer. The main reason being is once I'm starting to utilize it with an additional 2 to 4 foot, it would give me 1 or 2 more pushes on the pole before I have to lift it out and reset. And that'll get me a lot more distance and as well as more speed. With more length, it'll also allow me to flatten it out for when I'm making those adjustments side to side or spinning around. The biggest reasons why I didn't go longer to start with was the transport. I was concerned about transporting such a long piece because it wouldn't fit in the car, but now that I've found a spot that'll fit perfectly on the car, don't have to worry about it. And same on the kayak, it sits right on those the outriggers and it'll stable as can be, so no worries about it either. So those aren't the issue, so I might as well get what I want, which is between a 12 and 14 foot length. I was going to go back to Home Depot and get the longer ones, but I found out those are actually 1.5 inch diameter, where this is a 1.25 inch. So that extra meat to it is going to make it considerably heavier, especially with the length. Plus they're out of stock. So I think what I'm going to do is basically just add an extension to this existing pole, get a 2 to 4 foot section, create a sleeve, and then bolt that together, and that should be fine. So otherwise, I think we're good. I give it a thumbs up. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye.